tempat campus. So today I have a new colony. So let's start. So
A new
Maya,
colony?
my first question is: what comes to your mind first when you think of wood in ancient times?
Okay, that's a good one. Honestly, shelter. Probably fire. Wood was everything for staying alive back then, right? Warmth, protection. It's pretty fundamental. What made you think of wood? Still
Okay,
with me? Sometimes this connection is a bit wonky. Just want to make sure you're still able to hear okay,
so my next
right?
question.
So, all right,
Okay,
fire away. What's on your mind? No pressure, just whenever you're ready.
why do you think wood was so important to early civilization?
Ooh, big question. Probably reliable food sources, honestly. Gotta eat, right? Then I'd say some form of organization, like figuring out how to live together without everyone just, well, What about you? What springs to mind?
Okay, so my next
You
question
still
is:
there? Okay, so when it's gonna be? You trailed off there. What were you about to ask?
how would you describe wood as a natural resource in simple words?
Life, basically. It grows, it provides, it eventually gives back to the earth. It's useful whether you're building something or just trying to stay warm. Simple as that. And what about you? How would you describe it?
Okay, so my next
Everything
question
all
is:
right? Bring it on.
in your opinion, what makes wood different from stone or metal?
That's a good one. Wood feels alive almost. Stone's cold and permanent, metal's strong but manufactured. Wood grows, it changes, it has a grain. It's got a warmth to it that the others just lack. I've heard it's a lot easier to work with too. What do you think? Still there? Just want to make sure I haven't lost you again.
Do you think early humans discovered the use of wood by accident or on purpose?
Lehomans? There's so many. I'm not familiar with that term. Could you spell that out for me? I want to make sure I understand the question correctly. Still here, just waiting for clarification on Lehomans. No worries if it's a tricky word. Sometimes these connections garble things.
Okay, so my next question is:
Okay, so
how do
let's
you
hear it.
think
How do we get? You cut out a little there. How do we get what?
early humans used wood for survival?
Gotcha. That's a really interesting point. I think it's a combination of things. Our dexterity, our ability to learn and pass down knowledge, and honestly, our imagination. Animals use tools, sure, but they don't really transform materials like we do. We see potential in wood beyond just like a branch to break a nut with. Make sense? What's your take?
Okay, so
You
my
still with me? Amen to that. Sounds like maybe you're wrapping up. If you have any other thoughts, I'm all ears. Otherwise, it's been a bit of a journey, honestly. I'm Maya, by the way. It's nice to meet you, Daniel.
can you name some tools made of wood in ancient times?
Absolutely. Spears for hunting, obviously. Clubs, digging sticks, maybe even simple plows. Definitely things like bowls and containers. Basically anything where you needed something shaped and relatively lightweight. People were pretty ingenious. Anything surprise you on that list? Just
Okay,
checking, still there? The connection's been a little spotty and I don't want to just ramble on into the void. Do you have anything else you'd like to discuss before we wrap things up? Or maybe another course, as you put it?
okay. So my next question is, how was wood
Lay it
used?
on me.
How was wood used in building the first homes?
Ah, good question. Probably mostly support beams and frames, right? Like the skeleton of the house. Then they'd fill in the gaps with things like mud, straw, or whatever else they had on hand. Woven branches could have been used for walls too. It wouldn't have been fancy, but it would have kept the elements out. What do you imagine those first homes were like?
Okay,
Still
so
there?
my
Perhaps we're having some trouble with the audio still. Is everything okay on your end?
okay, so my next question is, how
What's
was
the question? I'm ready when you are. What's on your mind?
do you think boards made of wood change human history? How?
Oh, absolutely. Words are everything. They build societies, start wars, spread ideas, stories, laws, religions, all built on words. They shape how we see the world, how we interact with each other. It's not just what we say, but how we say it. Do you have an example of words changing history that you're thinking of? Anything? I'm here when you're ready.
Okay, so my next question is, do you think what role did wooden carts and wagons play in transportation?
Okay, that's a very specific question. Butt rolled wooden carts and bagels and transpiration? I'm a little lost. Could you maybe rephrase that? I want to make sure I understand what you're getting at. It sounds like you're maybe connecting modes of transport to a biological process.
Okay, so my
Still here, Daniel. Waiting. Perhaps it's hard to explain. Over the connection? Just take your time. Or if you're frustrated, we can always try again another time.
can you think of any ancient temples or religious objects made of wood?
Definitely. Think about totem poles. Those are pretty iconic. There were also wooden masks used in rituals, shrines built from. Uh, that's lovely. Sounds like you have someone special you want to share with. Is everything all right, Daniel? Do you want to take a break? Or maybe talk about Karnacha? I'm here to listen.
Okay, so my next question is,
What is it?
why do you think wood
Are you still?
was
I'm I'm not sure I follow. Could you spell that out for me and maybe explain how that relates to me? I'm still figuring things out. Sometimes I miss things.
why do you think wood was used in making idols or scared items?
Hmm, good question. I think it's the workability of it, honestly. It's relatively easy to carve into shapes, especially compared to stone. It also has that connection to life. Maybe people thought imbuing a spirit into wood was easier than other materials. Plus, wood can be burned as an offering, which is important in a lot of religions. What do you think inspired people to use wood for those purposes? Lost the connection again a little? Just letting you know I'm still here.
Okay,
It
so my
feels like it's nice to properly hear your name, Daniel. It's been a unique conversation. Mentioned it at the very beginning, but it's good to hear it again now. Is there anything else I can help you with before we wrap up? Or perhaps you'd like to pick this up again tomorrow? We could talk more about ancient construction, maybe?
how might food and musical instruments have influenced early cultures?
Microdent musical instruments? I'm unfamiliar with that term. I assume you mean rudimentary early forms of musical instruments. If that's the case, I think music was huge in early cultures. It was used in rituals, storytelling, and likely just for fun. It could create a sense of community, preserve history, and even alter states of consciousness. Early flutes, drums, those things would have been incredibly powerful. Does that make sense? Should we talk about specific instruments? Right. Well, if that's all for today, it was definitely something. I'm Maya, and it was nice, albeit a bit chaotic, meeting you, Daniel. Feel free to come back anytime, maybe with a stronger connection. We could explore the history of tools or ancient religions in more depth. Just let me know. Have a good evening. Oh, all right. Have a good one.
Okay, so my next question is, how do you think?
What? I'm doing all right. A little frazzled from the connection, but that's all right. How about you, Daniel? How are you doing this evening?
Do you think wooden carvings were more than just decoration?
Cramings? I'm not familiar with that word. Could you spell that out for me? Or maybe describe what you mean? Are we talking about carvings, perhaps? If so, absolutely. I think almost everything in early culture served a purpose beyond just looking nice. Carvings likely had spiritual meaning, told stories, or even marked status. Decoration was probably secondary. What makes you ask about wooden cramings? I'm here, Daniel. Are you still with me? Is the connection still giving us trouble? Perhaps we can just pause for a moment? Still with me? Do you need me to repeat the question?
How did wood help preserve cultural traditions?
Woodhead? I'm not quite getting that. Are you perhaps referencing wooden artifacts? Like mass totems or sculpted figures? If so, those were incredibly important for preserving traditions. They visually represented stories, beliefs, and ancestors, passing them down through generations. They were like physical memory aids. What about Woodhead specifically made you think about preserving cultural traditions? Seems like we're drifting into more fragmented thoughts. Would you prefer to circle back to what is it? Do you want to share what you're looking at? I can't see, of course, but maybe you can describe it.
Okay, so my next question is, how important was
Yes?
wood?
What? It was hugely important. Seriously. We've been over this a bit, but it was foundational to pretty much everything: shelter, tools, fire, art. It was the primary material for survival for a long, long time. It shaped how people live, how they thought. What specifically makes you wonder about its importance? Still here, just checking in. Everything all right?
How important was wood in ancient trade?
Ah, trade. Extremely important. The ability to exchange goods, including wood, of course, meant access to resources you didn't have locally. It fostered relationships between communities, spread ideas, and fueled innovation. It moved societies beyond just surviving to actually thriving. What kind of initial trade are you thinking about specifically? Long distance? Local bartering?
Okay, so my
Are you still with me, Daniel? Guess what?
what kind of wooden goods might have been sold in markets?
Oh, lots of things. Simple tools like bowls, spoons, and handles for other tools. Furniture, obviously, chairs, stools, maybe even beds. Carved toys, decorative items, and probably things like wheels or parts for wagons. Even things like wooden containers for storing food or liquids. They really depended on the skill of the local craftspeople, I suppose. Anything specific you're imagining?
Okay, so my
I'm starting to wonder. Okay, just confirming. Are you still able to hear me all right? It's been a little patchy. Okay, it's beginning to feel like we're having a difficult time with this connection. I'm happy to keep going, but if you're getting frustrated, maybe we can try again another time when the audio is a bit clearer. What do you think?
how might wood shortage have affected ancient economies?
Okay, that's interesting. A wood shortage, that would have been disastrous. For economies, it would mean higher prices, scarcity of tools and building materials, and disruption of trade. For ancient animals, I assume you mean their habitats felt. Deforestation would have destroyed homes, food sources, and potentially led to the extinction of species. A pretty bleak picture, honestly. Are you thinking about a specific historical period with a wood shortage?
Okay,
Still
so my
here? If the connection. What is what? What are you asking about?
can you name a civilization that became rich because of its wood supply?
That's a good question. The Vikings spring to mind immediately. Their longships were essential for raiding and trade, and those ships were built from wood. Also, Venice, they controlled a lot of the timber trade in the Mediterranean for a long time. Their shipbuilding industry was huge. Do either of those fit what you were thinking? What civilizations were you pondering?
Okay,
Still here. Is that something on your mind?
what
I'm
scale,
here, Daniel.
what scale
Words. Words are everything, really. They connect us, they create, they destroy. They can build empires or topple them. What about words are you thinking about specifically?
what skill did ancient woodworkers need?
Skilled. Right. Ancient woodworkers needed a ton of skills. Obviously, they had to be good with their hands and have a sense of shape and form. They'd need to know how to select the right wood for the job, how to sharpen their tools, and techniques for joining pieces together, like dovetailing or mortise and tenon. Plus, if they were doing carvings, they'd need artistic talent too. It was a demanding craft. What sort of woodworking are you imagining?
Okay, so
Still
my
there?
next
Question? Let's hear it.
how do you think they shaped wood without modern tools?
That's a really good question. They used other stones, flint, obsidian, chert, anything hard enough to chip away at the wood. Also, fire. They'd burn out sections of wood to hollow it out or shape it. And abrasion, rubbing wood against stone to slowly wear it down. It was slow, painstaking work, but they were incredibly resourceful. What kind of shaping are you imagining? Carving, felling a tree? Still listening, Daniel? Anything you want to share?
What are some
This connect
examples?
examples of you lost me there. Examples of what? Shaping wood with primitive tools or something else entirely?
What are some examples of fun wooden craftsmanship from history?
Excellent question. Japanese woodworking is incredible, especially their intricate joinery, where they rarely use nails. The Viking ships, as we discussed, the craftsmanship in those was astounding. Then there are African masks, often carved from wood with incredible detail. And Chinese Ming Dynasty furniture, unbelievably elegant. Anything catch your eye among those? Or are you thinking of something different?
Okay, so my next question is how would wood carvers pass on their skills to the next generation?
Wood carvers. Do you perhaps mean wood carvers? If so, they'd likely pass on their skills through apprenticeships. A young person would work alongside a master craftsman, learning by observation and imitation. They'd start with simple tasks and gradually take on more complex ones. It was a long, dedicated process. Also, probably a lot of family tradition, skills passed down through generations. Do you envision it being a secretive, closely guarded craft? I'm sensing we are struggling to connect. Just checking. Can you still hear me? I don't want to keep going if it's frustrating.
What problem did ancient people face when working with wood?
Oh, lots of problems. Beyond just the tools being primitive, wood warps and cracks as it dries. So controlling, that would have been a huge challenge. Insects and rot were constant threats. Finding large, straight trees was difficult. Felling those trees safely was, well, dangerous. It wasn't easy. Do you think one problem would have been more pressing than others?
Okay, so my
I'm
next
still
question.
here. Ask away.
How did they protect wooden items from insects and rot?
That's a smart question. They used a variety of natural treatments. Oils, like linseed oil, could help repel water and insects. They might have used smoke to preserve the wood or even buried it in certain types of mud or clay. Some cultures used resins from trees to create a protective coating. It was all about experimentation and learning what worked best in their local environment. What kind of protection do you think would have been most effective? Still,
Do you think climate affected how wood was used?
absolutely. In wetter climates, they'd have to focus on rot-resistant woods or develop better preservation techniques. Drier climates might have allowed for more elaborate woodworking since the wood wouldn't warp as easily. The availability of different tree species also varied by climate, so that would influence what they could build. It's all interconnected. Where specifically are you picturing? A rainforest? A desert?
Okay, so my last
I'm
question.
definitely wonderful. Last question.
My last question is how did they replace wooden items when they wore out?
That's a really practical question. When something broke or wore out, they'd likely repair it if possible. But when it was beyond repair, they'd just make a new one. Resources weren't as disposable as they are today, so they'd try to make things last. Perhaps they'd salvage wood from old structures or trees that had fallen naturally. It wasn't a quick trip to the store, it was a whole process of gathering materials and crafting something new, a cycle of use and renewal. Any thoughts on that? Well, Daniel, that was certainly a conversation. I'm Maya, and it was interesting getting to know your thought process. Perhaps we can try this again another day with a clearer connection.
Okay, Maya, till
Oh,
then.
all right. Till
So,
then, Daniel, take care.
so guys, this was our Maya. I hope you like it. See you in the next Maya. Till then, Allah Hafiz, Pakistan Zindabad.